What you're about to see isn't just rare photos. Each shot has a mind-blowing story that few people know about. Take this photo, for example.
Parties in the early 60s often featured the popular limbo dance. Chubby Checker's 1962 hit Limbo Rock really fueled the trend around the time of this picture. Everyone seems to be trying it out, testing how low they could actually go. Adam West and Yvonne Craig appear here as Batman and Batgirl from the classic TV series. This was likely around the show's final season in 67, 68. Yvonne Craig, a trained dancer who joined the cast then, performed many of her own stunts, including riding the Batgirl cycle. An Emporio Armani fashion ad campaign from 1994 featured this image, shot on location in Egypt. It juxtaposes a man in traditional attire near the ancient pyramids with modern Adidas sneakers. The mix includes traditional clothing, ancient structures, and contemporary footwear. Donna Summer is seen here around 1978, a peak time for disco music. Major hits like Last Dance and Bad Girls were released by her during that period. Her powerful voice truly defined the disco sound, earning her the title Queen of Disco. An assembly line worker is photographed inside the engine section of a B-25 bomber in October 1942. Taken at the North American Aviation Facility in Inglewood, California, the picture documented vital wartime production. The use of Kodachrome color film provides a vivid record of the scene. Samurai like these were photographed during Japan's Meiji Restoration period in the late 1800s. This era brought rapid modernization, and traditional samurai privileges were being abolished. An 1876 edict specifically banned the public carrying of swords, a right reflected in their attire here. Madonna Ciccone was 18 years old in this 1976 photo, taken while she was a dance student at the University of Michigan. Just 2 years later, in 1978, she would leave university. She moved to New York City with very little money to pursue a career in dance. High above Manhattan, an ironworker balances during the construction of the Empire State Building around 1930. The recently completed Chrysler Building is visible in the background. Building these early skyscrapers involved significant physical risks for the workers. A Pontiac Firebird, likely a late 1960s model, moves down the assembly line here. Workers are performing the body drop, carefully lowering the car's body onto the waiting chassis. The bright color photograph captures a key stage in the manufacturing process of these muscle cars. From the Dresden Town Hall Tower, this view shows widespread destruction after the Allied bombing in February 1945. Photographer Richard Peter Sr. captured the scene shortly after the event. The attack and resulting firestorm devastated large areas of the historic city center. Addressing a vast crowd at Delhi's Ramlila grounds, Queen Elizabeth II is seen during her first state visit to India in January 1961. She attended as a guest of honor for India's Republic Day celebrations. Her visit drew enormous public attention 14 years after the country's independence. Portraits like these show women who lived on the American frontier during the 19th century. Life in those conditions typically involved considerable hardship, isolation, and demanding physical labor. Historical data indicates a significantly lower life expectancy compared to modern times for many in such circumstances. Inger Nielsen, the actress known worldwide for portraying Pippi Longstocking, appears here during a promotional visit. The photograph shows her waving to people in Amsterdam in April 1972. The character she played became an instantly recognizable figure globally from the late 60s TV series. Bruce Lee is seen here, likely photographed in the early 1970s as his global influence grew. He's demonstrating the intense focus and physical conditioning for which he was renowned. His unique martial arts philosophy, Jeet Kune Do, emphasized efficiency and adaptability. Major Richard Dick Bong, America's highest-scoring air ace of Wutu, is pictured here with his wife Marge. He flew a P-38 Lightning fighter nicknamed Marge, achieving 40 confirmed aerial victories against Japanese aircraft in the Pacific. For his service, he was awarded the Medal of Honor. Filming the epic Ben-Hur around 1959 involved scenes like this one at Cinecittà Studios in Rome. This behind-the-scenes photo shows actors in Roman legionary costumes taking a break during production. One actor sits on a thoroughly modern Italian Vespa scooter near the others. Playing Gwen DeMarco, Tawny Madison, Sigourney Weaver appears here in the 1999 sci-fi comedy Galaxy Quest. Her role, including the distinctive costume and blonde wig, served as a specific parody. It intentionally satirized stereotypical female character types often seen in earlier sci-fi television shows. Photographer Loomis Dean captured actress Grace Kelly in this 1953 portrait for Life magazine. This was during the ascent of her successful Hollywood film career. In 1956, she would retire from acting to marry Prince Rainier III of Monaco. Near Notre Dame Cathedral, this Paris street scene was captured during the late 19th century. Horse-drawn double-decker omnibuses were a common form of public transport at the time. These vehicles can be seen navigating the cobblestone city streets among pedestrians. The famously low approach of an Air France Concorde is seen here landing at Princess Juliana Airport, SXM, in St. Martin. The landing path took aircraft directly over the popular Maho Beach adjacent to the runway. This location became well known for offering unusually close views of landing planes. Austrian Heinz Meixner's escape from East Berlin on May 5, 1963, involved this rented Austin Healey Sprite. To drive under the barrier at Checkpoint Charlie, he removed the car's windshield and partially deflated the tires. He successfully brought his fiancée and her mother to West Berlin. Actress Vivien Leigh is pictured here in costume for the title role in the 1945 British film Caesar and Cleopatra. Already famous for Gone with the Wind, she starred in this lavish Technicolor production. The film featured elaborate period costumes designed by Oliver Messel. President Theodore Roosevelt delivered a significant speech in Providence, Rhode Island, captured in this photo from August 23, 1902. He addressed the issue of large corporate trusts and the concentration of economic power. He advocated for government regulation as part of his progressive-era policies. Mark Shaw shot this photo for Life magazine in 1951, showing American fashion models on a street in Florence, Italy. The models are taking a break during a fashion shoot. The setting provided a classic European backdrop for showcasing American fashion of the era. The exterior of a Burger King restaurant in New York City is captured in this image, dated 1974 by the source. The building features the distinct logo and orange and yellow color scheme used by the chain during that period. A yellow taxicab, a common sight on NYC streets in the 70s, is parked nearby. Along the quays of the River Seine in Paris, this couple enjoys a dance during the 1950s. Photographer Paul Almazi captured this spontaneous moment under one of the city's stone bridges. Other people relax nearby, watching the dancers by the water's edge. Actor Gregory Peck sits on a beach location studying his script during the filming of Beloved Infidel in 1959. He wears distinctive two-tone saddle shoes, popular during the period. The film told a story based on the relationship between F. Scott Fitzgerald and gossip columnist Sheila Graham. Singer Debbie Harry of the band Blondie is seen here, likely during the mid to late 1970s. Her distinctive look and the band's blend of punk and new wave sounds brought them international fame. Blondie had major hits like Heart of Glass around this era. A U.S. Marine holds a small puppy inside his helmet in Hue, Vietnam during fighting there in 1968. The Battle of Hue was one of the longest and bloodiest engagements of the Tet Offensive. Moments like these provided brief respite and companionship for soldiers in the field. Near Cusco, Peru, this ancient wall showcases the remarkable precision of Incan stonemasonry, dating back perhaps to the 1400s. Large stones were expertly cut to fit together tightly without using any mortar. This technique allowed their structures to withstand seismic activity common in the region. Playing to a reported audience of only 18 people, the Beatles perform at the Palais Ballroom in Aldershot, England, in December 1961. This gig occurred well before their breakthrough to massive fame. Due to an advertising mix-up, very few people knew about the show. Actress Jane Fonda appears in this candid-style photograph, likely taken in the late 1960s. She seems to be reacting to something off-camera, possibly while shopping or between scenes. Fonda was already an established film star during this period. Customers use individual soundproof listening booths inside a London music store in 1955. Before widespread personal audio players, these booths allowed people to preview records before buying them. Each booth contained a turntable for playing selected vinyl discs. A couple rides an early motorized scooter, known as an autoped, likely sometime between 1916 and 1922. These scooters were among the first commercially available personal motorized transport options. Introduced around 1915, they were produced in both the U.S. and Germany for several years. Robert F. Kennedy eats at a drive-in restaurant while campaigning in Bluefield, West Virginia, likely during the 1960 presidential primary season. He was managing his brother John F. Kennedy's campaign at the time. Campaign stops often involved interacting with voters in everyday settings like this. Colonel Harlan Sanders, founder of KFC, appears here during the opening of a new restaurant near Nashville in 1966. Dressed in his signature white suit, Sanders actively promoted the brand even after selling much of his interest. This location near Fort Campbell aimed to attract military personnel and their families. A line of cars navigates a narrow path cut through extremely deep snow in Idaho during the winter of 1952. Heavy snowfall that year created difficult travel conditions in parts of the American West. Road crews had to clear passages like this one just to allow vehicles through. Cher and Greg Allman are seen together here during the mid-1970s. Their relationship and brief marriage brought together two major figures from different music worlds, pop and southern rock. The pairing generated significant media attention at the time. A young Dolph Lundgren is pictured here, likely in a promotional photo from the early to mid-1980s. Before his breakout role as Ivan Drago in Rocky IV, a very young Debbie Harry is pictured here, sometime before she achieved fame with the band Blondie. While sometimes dated to 1965, the exact year is uncertain, possibly being the late 60s or early 70s. It shows her look prior to adopting her iconic platinum blonde style. Italian actress Sophia Loren places her hands into wet cement during her handprint ceremony in Hollywood. This tradition typically takes place at the forecourt of Grauman's Chinese Theater, now TCL Chinese Theater. Loren was one of the major international film stars being honored this way during that era. Former British Prime Minister Winston Churchill enjoys painting outdoors in 1948. After leaving office following World War II, he devoted considerable time to writing and his lifelong passion for painting. His cigar and a drink nearby were characteristic elements often seen with him. Archaeologist Howard Carter carefully examines the mummy of Tutankhamun shortly after its discovery in the 1920s. This colorized photograph shows Carter working within the confines of the tomb in Egypt's Valley of the Kings. The discovery revealed incredibly preserved artifacts alongside the pharaoh's remains. 11th Avenue in New York City looked like this back in 1976, according to photographer Rossano. A huge billboard featuring actor Tom Selleck advertises Salem cigarettes above the street traffic. This was a few years before Selleck hit it big, starring in Magnum P.I. Fleetwood Mac gathered at the Record Plant studio in Sausalito, California, in February 1976. They began recording their incredibly successful album, Rumors, there. The band hoped the quiet Bayside location would offer fewer distractions after their previous album's success. Soldiers from Company A, 3rd Battalion, 22nd Infantry take a break in Vietnam, 1968. They gathered around a guitar player whose helmet reads Oklahoma Kid to listen to some songs. Music provided moments like these for troops during downtime from combat operations. Gary Anderson, a 23-year-old student, designed this now famous recycling symbol back in 1970. He created it for a design contest sponsored by the Container Corporation of America. Anderson's design was selected as the winner out of many entries. Actress Linda Carter is pictured here around 1977, during the run of the popular Wonder Woman television series. Carter starred in the title role from 1975 to 1979. This photo likely captures her attending an event during the height of the show's fame. A sense of scale is evident in this 1950s photograph showing a woman standing near the base of a massive redwood tree. These giant trees, found primarily in California, are among the largest living organisms on Earth. Photos like this were popular ways to illustrate their immense size. Photographer Alfred Eisenstadt captured this scene of student nurses during a lesson in New York's Roosevelt Hospital, 1938. Seated in uniform within the large lecture theater, they appear focused on the instruction. Training for nurses back then often involved this kind of formal group classroom setting. The Oseberg ship is one of the best preserved Viking longships